Emma Clark's fingers trembled slightly as she brushed away decades of dust from the brittle pages of an archive box in the dim corner of the old airfield storage room. The storm outside rattled the corrugated metal roof, rain tapping insistently like a metronome keeping time with her heartbeat. For months, Emma had chased whispers of a missing flight log, the legendary record of Captain Evelyn Eve Monroe's missions, a log rumored to hold the secrets of some of the most daring aerial battles of the war. But so far, every lead had dissolved into bureaucratic dead ends and skeptical stares. The air was thick with the scent of aged paper and oil, a testament to years of neglect. Emma's eyes scanned the faded labels on boxes stacked haphazardly against cracked walls. Officially, the log was lost, erased from records or hidden deliberately, a casualty of time and prejudice. Eve Monroe's name, though whispered among historians and veterans alike, had never been given the honor it deserved. Despite her record-breaking victories as a fighter ace, her achievements were often footnoted or omitted altogether, buried beneath layers of institutional bias and the era's skepticism toward women in combat. Emma's mind replayed the stories she had uncovered. Eve's fearless dogfights over hostile skies, her leadership that rallied squadrons, and the quiet strength that defied the rigid constraints of a male-dominated military. She had made it her personal mission to bring Eve's legacy out of the shadows, to rewrite history with the truth. But every archive visit, every request for files, was met with polite refusals or indifferent bureaucracy. Tonight was no different. As she carefully opened a battered metal cabinet, the faint click of a lock disengaging echoed softly. A man's voice startled her from the shadows. "You're working late, aren't you?" Emma turned to see Lucas Grant stepping from behind a stack of crates. His expression was a mixture of curiosity and caution. Lucas was a young archivist, relatively new to the airfield's historical society, and Emma had noticed him before. Quiet, observant, but hesitant to rock the boat. "I'm trying to find something that's supposed to be lost," Emma replied, not without frustration. "Captain Monroe's flight log. It's more than just paper. It's a piece of history that's been ignored for too long." Lucas nodded slowly, his gaze flickering toward the rows of locked cabinets and restricted files. "Officially, it's not here. Or at least, not in the places we're allowed to look. Some people prefer to keep certain stories buried." Emma's jaw tightened. She knew that well. Why? What are they afraid of? "Change," Lucas said quietly. "Acknowledging Eve's achievements means rewriting parts of the past that make some people uncomfortable. It challenges the narratives they've built for decades." A silence settled between them, punctuated only by the storm's steady rhythm outside. Emma's resolve hardened. "I can't let that happen. Her story deserves to be told, no matter how inconvenient it is." Lucas hesitated, then glanced around as if weighing the consequences. "There might be a way. There's a restricted section in the archive, a safe that's been untouched for years. The older records are kept there, but access requires special permission. I don't have it yet." Emma's eyes lit up with cautious hope. "Could you help me get in? Just to look?" He sighed, conflicted but clearly moved by her determination. "It's risky. If we get caught, it could mean trouble for both of us. But I think it's worth it." Together, they moved toward the back of the archive, where the air was colder and the shadows deeper. Lucas produced a set of keys, selecting one with careful precision. The safe's heavy door groaned as it swung open, revealing folders yellowed with age and bound in cracked leather. Emma reached in, her hands steady despite the weight of what might lie ahead. Among the files, she found a small, worn journal, a flight log, its cover embossed faintly with the emblem of the squadron Eve had led. Her breath caught. This was it, the missing record that could rewrite the story of a forgotten heroine. As she flipped through the pages, the ink, though faded, detailed Eve's missions with vivid clarity. Dogfights against overwhelming odds, tactical maneuvers executed with brilliant precision, and moments of quiet reflection amid the chaos of war. Each entry was a testament not only to Eve's skill, but to her unyielding courage and leadership. Lucas watched her, a mix of admiration and apprehension in his eyes. "If this gets out, it could change everything." Emma nodded, her voice steady. "It has to. For too long, her story has been silenced. This log is proof that she was more than just a footnote." The gravity of their discovery settled over them like the storm clouds outside. But there was no time to celebrate. Only the certainty that the road ahead would be fraught with resistance. Emma knew the officials guarding the sanitized history would not relinquish their control easily. As they carefully packed the log back into the safe, Emma felt a surge of determination. This was more than a historical find. It was a challenge to the inertia of tradition and bias. She looked at Lucas, grateful for his courage to step beyond caution. "Thank you," she said quietly. "You've made this possible." Lucas smiled faintly, the tension in his shoulders easing. Sometimes, doing the right thing means risking a little trouble. Together, they locked the safe and left the archive, stepping back into the storm-soaked night. The rain had softened, but the air still crackled with the promise of change. Emma's mind raced with possibilities, pressing forward, sharing the truth, and honoring Eve Monroe's legacy. As they parted ways, Lucas's parting words lingered. History isn't just about what's written down. It's about who has the courage to uncover what's been hidden. Emma walked away with the flight log's weight in her heart, a symbol of battles fought both in the skies and in the quiet halls of forgotten history. Her journey was only beginning, but for the first time in decades, Eve Monroe's story was within reach. Days later, the atmosphere in the quiet room of the Historical Society had shifted. The air was charged with anticipation as Emma Clark laid the worn flight log carefully on the polished oak table, its leather cover soft from years of handling. Around her, a small group of society members and a few veterans had gathered, their expressions a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. Among them was Lucas Grant, standing close by, his earlier hesitation replaced by a steady resolve. Emma's voice broke the silence as she began to read aloud from the log, the faded ink revealing the untold stories of Captain Evelyn Eve Monroe. The entries spoke of aerial battles with a vividness that transcended time. Enemy fighters closing in, maneuvers executed with precision, and the unshakable courage of a pilot who faced danger with unwavering resolve. Each page was a revelation, challenging the sanitized history that had long minimized Eve's role. One passage described a mission where Eve, outnumbered and wounded, led her squadron through a perilous dogfight, turning the tide with a daring tactic that saved countless lives. The room seemed to hold its breath as Emma recounted Eve's leadership, her voice steady but filled with reverence. As the last words echoed, murmurs rippled through the group. Veterans exchanged glances, some nodding in quiet acknowledgement, others grappling with the weight of forgotten truth. The evidence could not be denied. Eve Monroe was not merely a footnote. She was a hero whose legacy demanded recognition. The chairman of the society, an aging man named Harold Benson, cleared his throat and adjusted his glasses. "These records, they compel us to reconsider everything we believed about our history," he said slowly. "The courage and skill demonstrated here are undeniable." Emma met his gaze, the fight she had carried for months reflected in her eyes. "It's time we honor her properly. For too long, her story has been overshadowed by prejudice and silence." Harold nodded, a flicker of regret crossing his features. "We must amend the official records and ensure Eve Monroe receives the recognition she deserves." The decision sparked a wave of action within the society. Plans were made to revise historical accounts, update museum exhibits, and organize events to celebrate Eve's contributions. Emma and Lucas found themselves at the heart of this movement, their discovery breathing new life into conversations about women's roles in wartime history. In preparation for the upcoming commemoration, Emma worked with veterans and community members to gather personal anecdotes and photographs, weaving a tapestry of remembrance that honored not just Eve, but the countless unsung heroes of the era. The event was scheduled for the anniversary of the flight log's unveiling, a symbolic gesture marking the reclamation of truth. On the evening of the commemoration, the community hall was filled with a warm glow from chandeliers and candles. Veterans in crisp uniforms mingled with families, historians, and young students eager to learn. The air buzzed with stories shared and memories rekindled. Emma stood at the podium, her voice steady as she addressed the crowd. "Tonight, we remember a woman who fought battles both in the skies and within the constraints of her time. Captain Evelyn Monroe's courage and leadership remind us that history is not just about what is recorded, but about the voices we choose to listen to." A veteran named Thomas Harding stepped forward, his weathered face reflecting years of service. "I flew alongside Eve during the war," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "She was fearless, a true leader who inspired us all. It's an honor to see her story finally told." As the evening unfolded, laughter and tears mingled, weaving a sense of community and healing. Emma watched as the crowd connected across generations, united by a shared respect for the past and a renewed commitment to truth. Later, as guests began to depart, Emma and Lucas lingered by the display featuring the flight log and photographs of Eve. Lucas broke the silence. "You never gave up, even when it seemed impossible." Emma smiled softly. She didn't give up either. And now, her story gives others the strength to keep fighting. Lucas nodded thoughtfully. "It's more than history. It's about acknowledging courage wherever it's found and ensuring it's never forgotten." The night's quiet moments underscored the profound impact of their discovery. Emma reflected on the women who had paved the way, their struggles invisible to many but vital to all. The flight log was more than a document. It was a bridge connecting past and present, a testament to resilience and the enduring power of truth. As the hall emptied, Emma carefully secured the flight log in its specially designed case, destined for the museum that would house it alongside other relics of unsung heroes. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, tempered by the knowledge that this was only the beginning of a broader journey toward justice in history. Lucas's voice drew her attention once more. "What happens now?" Emma looked ahead, her eyes bright with purpose. "Now, we keep telling the stories that matter. We honor those who were forgotten, and we make sure history remembers them all." The story of Evelyn Monroe, once hidden in shadows, now shone with renewed clarity, a beacon for those who believe in the power of truth and the courage to reveal it.